All right, so things haven't necessarily gone according to plan as a Spurs fan this season. It looks like Liverpool are the odds-on favorite to win the league this season. How have they done it? How have they reinvented themselves to win the Premier League? That's what this video is going to make the argument for. So let's check this out.
Happy New Year, everybody. Adam Cleary from 442 here. And if you're a Liverpool fan, well, that was fun last night, wasn't it? They gave Newcastle the biggest statistical drubbing we have ever seen. Currently
Eat your heart out, Corey McKinney.
Sit top of the league and will surely now go on and win it thanks to this man, Mo Salah. In fact, that's a hell of a season you're having there, Liverpool and Mo Salah. It'd be a real shame if it also happened to be an AFCON year.
AFCON. African Cup of Nations. Give me 1 second to do a little research. Where is Mo Salah? Mo Salah is an Egyptian player. Okay. So he's going to be playing in the African Cup of Nations. This article here is saying Mo Salah is on a mission to finally win the AFCON, African Cup of Nations. All right, so how are Liverpool going to manage without their star player for a month? All right.
So just one quick moment of fuss, please, for the season Mo Salah is actually having here. He has scored 14 goals in the Premier League this season and laid on 8 assists for his teammates. Combined, that is 22 goals he has been involved in, and Liverpool have scored 43 in the league this season. It's still too early in the year for you to math. That is over half, which obviously, on the one hand, is the sort of form which...
Man, so like over half. If he is responsible or involved in over half of the goals scored for Liverpool, that's going to be a big loss for him to be gone during this cup, this international tournament.
Can drag you to the very top of the Premier League and keep you there, but on the other hand, is also the kind of form that if it magically disappears because of an international tournament, can leave you just entirely f***ed. And right now, just a quick look at the fixtures. Mo Salah is definitely going to miss all of these games, and depending on how Egypt do, could miss all of these games as well. So first off, just how has he been so good this season? That's the really fun part. And then second, how can Liverpool possibly counteract this absence? Because, spoiler, they might be able to. Right, so here we are. This is Liverpool, and right here on the right-hand side of the 4-3-3 is Mo Salah, and he has been here for pretty much his entire time at the club. Except now, things are different. When Liverpool were in their glory era under Klopp, his job was to start wide but then move into the centre of the pitch as the false nine, Roberto Firmino, would drop out of that space, take up goal-scoring positions, and Trent Alexander-Arnold's job was to provide the width and put in dangerous balls. And that's just how this system worked. You got exactly the same from Sadio Mane on the other side. You got exactly the same from Robertson on that side. My God, I'm getting old. And then Liverpool would pen teams in with this attacking front five and the midfield three. They would like dive on loose balls, force the high press, and keep everything going up here. And what that meant for Salah was when Liverpool were building up and they had the ball deeper, he would sort of receive it in these wide areas. But when they were attacking, he would do all his work much closer to the goal. And just to illustrate that, the last time Liverpool won the league, 2019-2020, this is Mo Salah's heat map across that entire season. You can see all the work he does receiving the ball here, but there's pretty much a straight line you can draw directly to the goal. He virtually never went down the line. It's genuinely quite astonishing when you just sort of look at that, isn't it? Or, I mean, maybe it is to me. I'm an awful nerd, but maybe you're normal. Anyway, though, this is not how Liverpool play this season, is it? So we'll just reset all of this back into the 4-3-3. Now, what Liverpool are mostly trying to do is to dominate the centre of the pitch by having the central midfielder go over there. Trent Alexander-Arnold comes across from full-back. They move into a sort of situational back three there. And Salah holds his width. Now they've got Darwin Núñez as a focal point.
This kind of looks like the Cruyffian setup with that midfield here. Almost looks like the way Johan Cruyff set up his offense.
8, they get up in support of him. The entire team pushes up as a result, and instead they get that same sort of 5 attacking players from that shape. And that means that Mo Salah is now stuck all the way out here on the right-hand side, and he has to stay here to give the team width. He needs to leave the space for this number 8, usually Szoboszlai, to get in and attack, and he can't expect any overlap from Alexander-Arnold anymore because he's now in the centre of the pitch. And if we take his heat map from the last time they won the league and change it with his heat map from this season, that's quite stark, I think. Like, he still receives the ball in this area as he was doing previously, but instead of there being pretty much a straight line direct to the goal, it's now far more concentrated in this area. And that's simply because every time Liverpool now get into the final third, whatever it is he's going to do, he has to do it at least starting from this sort of position. And the simplest way of putting it is that this has worked really, really well because Mo Salah has been really good at doing it. He's become Liverpool's chief chance creator. All his numbers this season in terms of how he lays on opportunities for his teammates have gone way up. His total number of shot creating actions is up per 90 minutes. He's creating nearly an entire extra chance per game. His number of key passes, which is any pass that directly results in a shot, that's massively up. His number of passes into the final third are up. His passes into the penalty area are up. His through balls have nearly doubled. And even something small like his number of progressive passes, which is sort of like any 10-yard pass that moves you closer to the opposition goal, they're up too.
All right, so some of these stats are gonna sort of fly right over my head. If you're new here, I'm about a year into following the beautiful game, becoming a fan of this sport. So some of these stats, I'm not really familiar with how they're tracked or how they're quantified. So some of that went right over my head, but it sounds as if all of his statistics have been up from where they typically are. And I already knew that Mo Salah was a class player, that he's one of the better players in the league, but it sounds like this year he's even stepped his game further up than he already was. So looks like one of the keys for Liverpool being at the top is the play of this man.
Now, obviously, he was instrumental last night in Liverpool demolishing Newcastle. That outside-of-the-foot cross he did for Cody Gakpo, that's something you never used to normally see him do, but is very much typical of the new Mo Salah. But one goal, where he didn't get the assist, but he made it, I think is the most new Mo Salah-ist thing you could possibly have seen. So he gets the ball really wide on the right-hand side here, and you can just sort of see the other 4 players in Liverpool's attack. They're all rushing to get into sort of a similar position. Gakpo's over here, Jones has come forward. I think this is Jota and Gravenberch. Now the key thing is that Salah is the most advanced player in this attack. He is where Newcastle are currently taking their defensive line from. So he faces up Dan Burn and he continues to push that defensive line back towards its own goal. But then, and it's the sort of the timing and the vision and the brilliance of this rather than the execution, right? Rather than taking them all the way back to the line, he wants to leave that space in behind them. When the rest of his teammates catch up to him, he then cuts back onto his left foot, which forces the rest of the Newcastle defence to stop moving. And in that split second where they are going one way and the Liverpool attackers are going the other, he threads this perfect pass through, which takes all 3 of these defenders out at once. Now, the old Mo Salah in that position would have waited for the advancing attackers to pull Newcastle's defenders the other way, cut inside on his left foot, and try and bend one into the top corner. Like, how many times did you see him do that in the old Liverpool? But now, that's not his game. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure we will still see the odd screamer from him every now and then, but his first thought used to be, where is the space going to be for me to get the shot away? Whereas you can see now his first thought is, how can I create the space for everyone else?
Wow, so it's not to say that the way he played before was like selfish or anything like that, but you can see there's a fundamental shift in how he plays. Now he's no longer looking to create space for himself to score, but he's actually creating space for his teammates to score. Not to say that he couldn't score the ball better than anybody in the league, but that's pretty cool to see that shift in mentality of how he's playing the game.
But the thing is, that's why he's become such a great chance creator for Liverpool. He's still scoring loads and loads of goals. So how does that work when his job is to be so much further away from the actual net? Well, first off, he's just a lot smarter as a footballer now. Like, his job is to provide width to this Liverpool team, but he still can get in towards goal when the opportunity avails itself. But he doesn't do that every single time. He picks his moments, which means as a defender, you don't know necessarily what he's going to do. But this is quite a subtle thing, and not to be picking on Dan Burn here, but if you look at the position he's taking up against Salah, previous years, you'd be a couple yards further over to the right there because you would be desperately trying to show him down the outside. The fact that now he goes either way means you can't do that. You've got to put yourself in a position to react to whichever way he goes. But also, and more importantly, and where Klopp deserves the credit in all this, by the way, is he's got the team set up in such a way that it does still allow for the emergence of the old Mo Salah. Dominic Szoboszlai has been brilliant at it this season, but Darwin Núñez also does it as well when the game requires. They will just swap places. Now for Big Dom here, what that means is occasionally in the build-up, he will drift out to the right-hand side to receive the ball and allow Salah to get into the space he would otherwise be occupying for him. And as you can see from this goal here, Szoboszlai is now on the right-hand side, meaning that when the chance does come in the middle, Salah's in an optimum position to take it. Very difficult to defend, that one. But even in the Newcastle game here, rather than it being in the build-up, Darwin Núñez just takes a position far out on the right-hand side, and Salah makes his run from outside to in. Now, yeah, okay, this one is mostly because the defending is absolutely criminal, and even if they hadn't swapped over, you would imagine that goal happens exactly the same way, just with Salah putting it on for Núñez. But it goes to show that this idea is baked into the system. If you're the wide 8 or you're the centre forward, just occasionally go and try and find some space on the right-hand side and know fully confidently that Mo Salah will fill that gap. But yeah, he's going to make you loads of chances from this position now. He's still capable of scoring you loads of goals from this position. What the hell do you do when you lose that for a couple of weeks? Well, as we've already seen, there is a degree of fluidity and rotation in this Liverpool system, so it's not that Mo Salah is entirely carrying his own job on his own back. In fact, the whole reason Liverpool have been doing so well this season, in my opinion, is because while there are loads of players doing very specific jobs very well, none of them are exclusively doing that job. Like take Alexander-Arnold, for example. He's doing brilliantly in this new midfield role, but Liverpool don't play this way all the time, and he will still find himself in this right-back area, and he's creating chances from there too. And likewise for Salah, while he's been brilliant in this role on the right-hand side, as we've seen, he does rotate quite a lot with Szoboszlai, with Núñez, so he's not doing it all on his own. Now, at the time of me recording this, there wasn't yet any official news on whether Szoboszlai went off with an actual injury or whether it was just precautionary, but if he is fit, I would be playing him on the right-hand side instead of Salah. Like, if we just overlay his heat map from this season as well, then yes, first off, well observed, he is absolutely fucking everywhere, but also, there is a huge concentration of his time on the ball spent in these same areas. He's really comfortable receiving it wide, he's really good at holding his width, he's very happy to drift into the centre, he can provide a goal threat, he's pretty much the yin to Salah's yang? The yin-yang. He's the Pokemon Red to Salah's Pokemon Blue. And just to pull up his chance creation numbers in the Premier League this season and compare them to Salah's, that is absolutely a man who is on his level. And whisper this one, but I do think Szoboszlai will be the long-term replacement for Salah on that side, should he decide he needs a new challenge or Liverpool want to cash in on him. But that's a video for another time. So yeah, I'd have him there and then I'd bring Harvey Elliott into the number 8 role. In fact, actually, I think the pair of them rotating almost constantly between this position and that position would be... Yeah, I think... Yeah, that should be... I mean, obviously the real issue is that Darwin Núñez has to learn to finish his goddamn dinner and then they'll be fine. But in terms of the Salah situation... Those two. Anyway, that was fun, wasn't it? If you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing.
All right, that was a fun video. It was nice, energetic, great way to explain some things to me. So really, what I took away from this video is the reason why Liverpool are at the top of the league is because they have a star player named Mo Salah who is absolutely on a tear, and they're gonna have to do some things to make up for that production during the African Cup of Nations. So, yeah, if you like what you saw in this video and you have more thoughts, leave them down below in the comment section. Smash the like button for me. I really appreciate all of the engagement on my recent videos. Like I said, I'm a brand new football fan. I'm still trying to learn my way around the game, and if you like that kind of content, you're going to like what's here on my channel. So go ahead and subscribe for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.